Daryl here. The channel is Programming in Any Language. The supporting website is programminginanylanguage.com or black-duck.com. They both take you to the same place. And it's a place where you'll find the videos and PDFs of the code in most cases. The video is the Anything Database version 3 part 9 search. Search is a final piece of this application. It's not necessary when we only have a few records, but it is mandatory if you are dealing with a database of thousands of records. In the array section of the website, we've seen the sequential search and the binary search. And both these methods could be applied here. In addition, we could set this up so the user could search on any field in this database, even combine fields. But in this video, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to confine the search to the last name only. And our search mechanism will be the sequential search. We'll be searching a field in the structure in our list. With the aid of another Boolean, we'll modify the update button to actually perform the search. You should find the process quite interesting. Let's give it a go. Well, everything in our database is working pretty well. The only thing we have to do yet is add some navigation to it. We did our navigation with the buttons and everything, but suppose you have 10,000 records in here. Navigating one at a time is painful. So you want to be able to do some kind of a search mechanism. And we're just going to search on one field. We're going to search in the last name field here. We could set it up really to search on any field, depending on how you want to do it. But we're going to do this by searching simply the last name field. Let's let it go through the records in the database and find what we're looking for. When we get to an actual database engine, I'll show you how to search on any field in there using indices to actually make this all work. And it becomes a very, very powerful tool at that time. We could do that here as well, but that's why we have database engines. They do a very good job of doing that kind of thing. So, welcome to the Anything Database version 3 part 9 search. Let's take a look. If you look at the search mechanism right in here, it's in the surrounded by the world of all of our other buttons here. We've got the entering the search criteria here, and then we're flipping the buttons, much like we did in edit and add. And then we're doing something called a find. And we're also doing a cancel. So we're doing one of two things. We're doing the cancel or the find. The find is like update, except it's not going to be doing any changing or anything like that. It's simply going to do navigation for us and get us there. But we're going to kind of use the update method here to implement our find by adding another function here. That's what our Booleans are all about. So it sounds a little confusing at this, but it's going to look very straightforward once you get into it. So if we looks like we're not even touching update here. We're touching something called find, which is going to display results and flip our buttons. That's what our navigation does. It displays results. So find is going to go in there. So let's take a look at this. Let's kind of reduce this thing down to just the find piece on this thing. And so search is going to be, we're going to enter some search criteria. What does that mean? That means we're probably going to allow the user to enter text into the last name field. We're going to flip the buttons in so that we have to then give the user the choice of either canceling or actually doing a find. The canceling is going to do everything that the cancel always did before in the edit and the add. It's going to return everything back to the way it was originally. There's not much we need to do there at all except point to the cancel button. The find, however, is going to go through the process of actually doing the search. So find is the search piece on this thing. Once it finds something, it's going to display the results. Now, it might not find anything, so we got to be considering that too. It doesn't show that in the hierarchy chart. We certainly could show that in the hierarchy chart. But when you create hierarchy charts, you're trying to get it narrowed down to smaller and smaller pieces as you go along. And sometimes you are just confused in what to do, so you're kind of narrowing it down that I want to display results here. I want to do a find right. And when you actually get to start programming the find, you realize that, hey, this find could fail. What am I going to do then? So let's take a look at this in more detail. To begin with, we're going to add to our utility variables way up at the top of the program. We've got the Boolean add and Boolean editing. Adding and editing are here. We're going to set up a Boolean searching as well so we can then tell that update function, because we're going to use the update function to do this. We're going to tell it that it's false. So we're not doing an update at any given time. If we want to do an update, we're going to say true to the Boolean here so it can actually work on that. So these things are just standard. We're going to put them up in the global area way up on top and use them. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually create the button search button, the click event. And in here, we can only do a search if we have records out here. But if we can't edit anything unless there's something in there to edit. So if the record count is greater than 0, we're good. Else, we're going to say, there's no records loaded for search. Get out of here. So, but assuming there is records, we have greater than 0 here in our record count, we can set our Boolean searching to true. We're then going to set our text last name field to visible equals false. In other words, that text box we've got there in the form is going to get turned off. We're not going to be able to see it. Instead, we're going to create a text search name visible text box here called text search name and make that visible, make that equal to true. So it's going to be another text box in there that's only going to be used for the searching criteria. It's going to be the same spot until the user is looking like he's typing it into the text last name field. But that's what we're doing here. We're going to put that in that search box. We're going to change button update.text to find. In other words, the button search button isn't going to say search button anymore. It's going to say find. So that's what's going to appear. The find and the cancel buttons are going to appear. Now, update is still there. It's still going to be the valid code when you press, but the name on the button is going to be different to find. So it leads the user to understand that he's doing a find here. We programmers know that this update button is going to be doing updating for an add, an edit, and it's also going to go searching for a find. That's what we're getting in there. We'll flip the buttons, and we will put our label user message, enter last name to be searched. We're going to give them information up in that field there, up on top, to let them know we're actually going to be searching something. So let's go on. We start looking at the search button. It's going to get changed. If we get into the cancel button, look at, we have a before and after in the cancel button situation here. Button cancel was displaying the record count, flipping buttons, entering, enabling text boxes, clearing boxes, and then Boolean adding and editing are going to be set to false, and we get the operation canceled here. That's fine. That works out great. We're going to be using all the same things here, but we're going to be adding something to this because the cancel is going to do a little bit more. For the button cancel routine, we're going to clear the text boxes. We did that up here. If our Boolean searching is false, in other words, we're not Boolean searching, that's why we have the not piece in here, we're going to enable text boxes. That's what we do up in here in the cancel routine. If we're editing, we're going to fill the text boxes with the record we're actually sitting on. And then we're going to do a button update.text equals update. We're going to change that text button that used to say update, now says find. We're going to change that back to update right here. We're going to flip our buttons, much like we did here. We're going to set our searching, adding, and editing. All those Booleans are going to set to false because we're not doing any of those anymore because we're doing a cancel. Our search name visible is going to get false, so the text boxes are going to get turned off so we can't see it anymore. And we're going to enable, and we're going to also clear it. And then we're going to take our last name field and make it visible so the user can actually see the text box again. And then we're going to take our label user message and say operation canceled. So not too much different than adding and editing, but we had a couple of things to undo here because we went into find. If we look at the update button, it looks like this before we get in and start doing our code. We've got the if Boolean adding, else if Boolean editing, and we have this shouldn't get here, only adding or editing should happen. We're going to add an else if in here to the Boolean search in here. So that's going to be taking place. Otherwise, all this will remain the same. So let's take a look at that. Let's see what that looks like. It's a lot of code in there. So Boolean adding, editing all stay the same. But now we got this else if Boolean searching. And then we got our message box shouldn't be here if we got an else down here. So that's all the same. So this part is all new. So if Boolean searching, we're going to call perform search. That's going to be our find. It's actually going to do it. And it's going to either be successful or not successful. How are we going to handle that? Let's find out. We're going to display our record count. We're going to say Boolean update text is equal to update. So we're going to change our button back to update from find once the search is done either successfully or unsuccessfully. Like the cancel button, we're going to take Boolean searching, editing, and editing, set them to false. We're then going to, like the cancel button, we're also going to replace our search name text box, make it invisible, clear it, and then turn our last name text box back on. So it's back to the way it should be when we're doing an update or an add or an edit or whatever. So that's all taking place here. So the real biggie here is performing search. We could have done that in here. And I think in the version of the search for the text box version, the text processing, I think I did have the code in here. But in this case, it seemed better and cleaner to create a search function to go ahead and do its thing. Whether or not it's successful or not, we'll take a look at that. In fact, let's take a look at that now. Here's our search, perform search piece. It's going to take the search name, a string str search name is going to be a variable that's going to receive the text search name text field that the person types in, the user types into the form. We're going to add the blanks to it, and into a substring of 0 through 20. So we're going to look at the 20 characters that make up that search name. That way we can compare this to every field we're setting out in there. We're going to set our int record pointer to -1. We're not pointing at anything at this point in time. We're then going to say for int equals I equals 0, for I is less than the record count, I plus plus. In other words, we're going to search by incrementing I from 0 through whatever till it gets to the record count. And let it do a search on here, incrementing it by 1. Every time it does this, every time it increments the I by 1, we're going to say if anything list I dot string first name. In other words, we're looking at the list structure that's in there. Whatever the anything list item in here, I dot first name, is going to be part of that structure of the first name field in that structure. We'll take this and we'll see, does it set equal to search name, the one the user just typed in. If it is, int record pointer is going to be set equal to I, and we're going to stop the search right there by breaking it. Just killing it right there. We've got our number. We don't need to go any further than this. Int record pointer is equal to I, and we're going to break the search at this point in time. So that's our for loop. That means we're done with the loop. So this will go on over and over again until it either finds a record or it has no more records to search on. So we get to this point right here. And we ask ourselves, okay, if int record pointer is greater than or equal to 0, that means we found something. Because if it's still a -1, which is set it to up here, it went through the entire list and found nothing. But if it's not -1 anymore, if it's a number greater than or equal to 0, then we found something. If that's the case, we're going to grab that and make that int record pointer and fill the text boxes. Put the record out there so the user can see it. And we're going to say label user record message.text record found. Otherwise, we're going to clear text boxes and tell the user record was not found. Now remember, our cancel and our find button, search button, update button, whatever, cleared everything once the search was done. So whether or not it found a record or not, it's all going to be displayed either on the form along with a message that the record was found or not found. If the record was found, you're going to see the record found up there, and you're also going to see the record displayed. If you didn't find anything, we're going to have a message to the user saying nothing was found, record not found. And we're going to clear text boxes so nothing is actually there. So we won't be showing anything like that. So it's going to be very obvious to the user that we found a record if that's the case. Let's take a look at this. If we look at our form, this is that label user message. It's going to have a lot of stuff in it, depending on what it does. We have a search name field, which is hidden behind text last name. That's right in here, this last name field. So this text last name is going to disappear, and in its place will be another text box that will be actually keying in the data for our search mechanism. We have first name and middle initial, the address, city, state, and zip, all here, which will get displayed. We won't be able to do any editing on it because we're just using it for display purposes. If you want to edit the record after searching, be my guest. Hit the edit button and go. And then you can do the editing and make the changes to it. So we have our city, state, all that kind of stuff is here. Number of records is going to stay the same. That won't change at all because we're doing a find here. And navigation won't get involved either because we're doing the search instead of navigation on this thing. So button search will get used. Button cancel, which is behind the delete button, will get used. And button update will get used as well, but it's going to get changed to be button find. It's still going to act as button update, but it'll be button find. So let's kind of take a look at all this and put some sense into actually doing it. You know, once you see it, once you do it, it makes it a little clearer to be looking at why we did it this way and made this thing all work. So let's take a look. So this is our form that we're looking at right now, and we absolutely want to do the search piece on this thing. But the first thing we're going to do is go up to the code way up on the top of the program here, and go to our utility variables. In the utility variables, all we're going to be doing is adding the search piece. So add that BLN. Whoops, I missed a bool here. Bool spell searching equals false, identifying a search function. So this is what'll happen here. So that's all we need to do there. Now we can go back to our design and look at our search button. We'll double click on it, and there's nothing there. We're creating it from scratch. What we can put in here? Well, this is the part where we're going to be looking at the record count and deciding whether or not we're actually going to be able to do a record search or not. So in this area, we're going to say if the record count is greater than 0, we want to do all this kind of stuff. Otherwise, we're going to say no records are loaded for the search. We can't do it. So what are we doing here? We're taking the BLN searching, setting it true. That way we can identify to the update, find/update, that, yes, we are doing a search mechanism right now. We're taking the last name field, making it invisible. We're taking the text search name visible and making it true, so it is visible. We're then changing our button update to find, and we're flipping our buttons, and our label user message.text are going to say enter the last name to be searched. From there on, the user is going to have the ability to either do a find or a cancel. Let's take a look at this now. Even though it isn't complete, we can at least run this to get an idea of what it looks like and what we've done so far. So I hit start on this thing. We end up with this. I want to load some data out there. Got our data. I think we've got our Elmer Fudd. We're going to pick on Elmer again. There he is. Actually, we don't have to pick on anything. We'll go to the top of the file. I'm going to hit our search button. As soon as we do that, enter last name to be searched. So the last name field pops up here. Now I can type in Elmer if I want. What I want to do is I want the system to go ahead and pad it with blanks and make it ELMER with 15 blanks on the end of this thing so I can search the database and look for Elmer with 15 blanks after it. All I have is a find and a cancel button. This is the search button. It's been renamed, but the code behind it is still update. So we're gonna add that piece to it. Cancel is the cancel button. We're gonna add some pieces to that thing to make it work as well. And that's all I've gotten so far. Can I cancel as is and make it all happen? Yeah, it won't work right. See, it doesn't get rid of Elmer, so we have to do that. And we have to, update is behind. Let's go ahead. I think we can because we're actually running here, but our operation did cancel, but our update still says find on it. So we have to do something about that when we get into it. So let's go back and kill this completely and go ahead and process the rest of this data. What are we going to do next? Well, the best thing to do is probably do the cancel button next. So we're going to go to our design, send delete to the back, and press on our cancel button. And that's going to look like this. What we want to do is we want to add some pieces to this thing. So we want to clear the text boxes. We want to only enable text boxes if we're not doing a search. We're going to fill text boxes if we are doing editing with the record pointer sitting in there. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to move this around a bit. We know we want to do the clear text boxes. That's got to be done first. So I'm going to do a Control X on this thing and lay it in up top. Give myself some space. And I'm going to put in our if statements. If not Boolean searching, I'm going to enable text boxes. So I don't need this down here anymore, because it's going to happen only if we're not searching. Edit and add it'll take place on. If I'm editing, I want to fill my text boxes, int rec pointer, and leave that record alone there. So basically, if I'm editing Elmer Fudd, I want it to show Elmer Fudd unchanged because we canceled the operation. So that's what this is for. I still want to flip buttons. I don't want to display a record count. We definitely want to do that. But before I do that, flip buttons, I'm going to go ahead and change the text on the update button to update, back from find to update. So we're getting out of this thing. We're going to make it update again. So that's there. We go ahead and flip the buttons. We then want to add our Boolean searching to false. We want to flip our text search name back. In fact, let's just do this. We want to take text search name, visible, make it false, so it's invisible. And then clear it off as well, so there's nothing in there. And then our text last name visible is going to be true. So we're going to be showing the text box again, the text last name box in there, and make all that happen. So that's all set. So that's what a cancel is going to do. So let's see if that works. Do a file save on this, and do a run. We'll load. Our data is there. We can see records that are there. That's fine. That's good. But let's do our search mechanism again. It works just fine. I happen to leave all this stuff there, which is fine because we're doing a search at this point in time. We'll add Fudd. Like I screwed up before. I said Elmer before. I want to search in the last name, which is F-U-D-D. And then a bunch of spaces are going to pop in there. I want to cancel it. Find isn't going to work yet, but cancel is going to. Cancel should make it work just fine. So it's going to go ahead and cancel this thing, and yet everything disappears and we're fine. We're not into it. We're into a search operation, so it clears everything off and we're all there. Do it again. We can look at bird for Tweety, and then cancel that operation. We don't want to do it. And bang, operation canceled, and we're back to normal. So this is working just fine, and everything, all our text is right there. So let's go ahead and continue and make the find button work. To make the find button work, we need to go to update here. Well, it's actually right here. It's already showing, so it's sitting right there in it now. So that's great. So all we need to do is click on it. And there's our code for the update button, which is really fine in this case. This piece in here, we're not touching. We're leaving it alone. We're leaving the editing piece alone because everything we're doing for editing, we want it to do. What we are adding is an else if. So we're going to be adding this piece right here. Else if searching, perform search. Display our record count, button update, .text equal to update. We're changing the find back to update. We'll flip in the buttons. Our searching buttons are getting turned off. Our visible last name, all that stuff's getting taken care of. So our search name disappears, just like the cancel. We're turning things back to the way they were. The only thing that's missing is this perform search piece. That's simply not there. So we're going to error out if we actually try to run this thing. So we need to create this method. And we can do that right down here. So I'm going to click a spot for this thing and place the code for perform search right in here. And there it is. Our string search name is going to read search name.text plus blanks and then take our 020. This creates that FUD with 16 blanks after it, or bird with 16 blanks after it. Duck with everybody's got four character names. Foghorn, Leghorn, Leghorn, LE. That's 7 of them. So there's going to be what 13 blanks after Leghorn. If you're doing Foghorn, Leghorn on here, our indirect pointer is getting set to -1 because we're pointing at nothing. Here's our loop right in here. This does our search. Anything list I, string last name. We're looking at the last name field inside the structure inside the list, comparing it to a string last name, which we created up here. If it finds it, we're going to hang on to that number of whatever I is, and we're going to break. If it doesn't find it, we're going to keep on going through the loop until the loop runs out of records to check. Then we're going to go down here, we're going to check to see if the record pointer is greater than or equal to 0. If it is, we're going to fill text boxes and do record found. That's all there is to it. Let's take a look at this thing. Do a file save. We'll do a run. Load our data. Our data is out there. Let's do a search on it. Let's look for FUD. And do a find. Found them. So it did do a match there. Fantastic. Now I could do an edit if I wanted to. Or I could cancel that. Let's do another search. Let's look for grandma. And do a find. Record not found. There's no such thing as a grandma out there in our database. Oh, okay. We didn't know that. Okay. How about duck? Can we find duck? Yes. We find duck very easily here. Let's search for duck again. Let's cancel it. Operation canceled. What does our data look like? Pond Lake Road, Daffy Duck, Elmer Fudd, Tweety Bird, Foghorn Leghorn. Let's go back to our top. Search for Leghorn. Find him. Found him. Let's edit him. And we have his middle name wrong. Middle initial should be an M. Foghorn M Leghorn. We'll make a change. Update it. Notice our update button says update now, not find. Did it work? Go to our bottom record. Foghorn M Leghorn. He's there. He is there. If I save it, it'll save. Right now it's not saved on the database. It's simply saved in memory, and that's all there is to it. So that is it. Search is relatively straightforward, with a lot of little pieces in there that you got to worry about. That's why you got to kind of think it out and do it a step at a time, slowly doing those pieces. And the hierarchy chart helps you do that kind of thing. So that's search on a structure in a nutshell. And that's the Anything Database version 3 using a structure in all its glory. Version 4 will be the Anything Database using an actual database. But that's for that section in the website. And I do want to spend some time showing everyone how to make a hierarchy chart as well. I know I was confused when I first dealt with them, but when I found out there was simply a tool and there was no wrong way to do them, the process became simple. Check for that coming up soon. Thanks for watching. Visit the website when you get a chance. And please subscribe. There's more stuff coming every week. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.